You wanted to hit, well, we got them. From California to Japan, the people have spoken. The best of the best, from hip-hop, rock, pop, and every genre in between. And we're here to play them, so get your dance shoes ready and listen to the sounds of worldwide music right here, right now, on the Stream Current Show.
Liftoff of mission 41D, the first flight of the orbiter Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Yabba dabba doo! What's up, everybody? This is your host, Wild Oscah, and you are listening to the Stream Current Show, which is a music radio style podcast where we feature artists from across the globe right here, right now, for you all to listen to. And we're podcasting from Halifax, Nova Scotia. In case you don't know, Nova Scotia is a small East Coast province in Canada, home of Donairs, Lobsters, and Sidney Crosby. That's right. To all you Sidney Crosby haters out there, we apologize, but he's our most famous Nova Scotian, besides Anne Murray. And if you don't know who Anne Murray is, she is a musician with all kinds of great music. Go on Spotify, check her out. We are here, we're podcasting. This is a podcast, but it's in a radio style format, so we feature songs, we talk a little bit about the artists, and we play their songs, and then we talk about some other stuff. We don't really have any topics. We kind of just wing it every episode. We've had talked about different things in the past. We've talked about like TikTok and wildfires and stuff like that. But well, we haven't really got anything, substantial to really talk about. I put out a calling for people to pick topics on my Facebook page, and not a whole lot of people really commented on it. Somebody mentioned talking about rappers dead or alive, but that's a sensitive subject with me where I lost a friend who was actually shot and killed at a bar performing at a show. Not while he was performing, but he was at the show, and rest in peace to Nukem. So we're going to try and keep it lighthearted because we don't want to get too down. This show is not about getting too serious, about lightening up, listen to some good music, having a good time. Here we are. It's my day off work. Thank effing God, or thank somebody. Thank anybody. I am off today. I was also off yesterday, and I was going to record the podcast yesterday, but my lawn was like a foot long, and I had to mow the lawn. And by the time I finished it, it was like 30 degrees out. I ended up laying on the couch, and I fell asleep for like 2 or 3 hours. So it didn't happen yesterday. I apologize, but we're here today. We're going to make it happen. We got a new band, musicians here on the podcast. Sometimes we feature people from past episodes. We have 2 artists from previous episodes that are going to be featured here, one with a new release, and the new band that we have also has a new release. Well, it was new like 2 weeks ago. I've been having a hard time trying to get around to this podcast because at my workplace, we're moving into the summer season, and I'm doing a lot of overtime now, so yeah, it's difficult. I got to pay the bills, right? If I could just do podcasts all day for a living, I would, and would be a dream, but for right now, it is what it is. But we're here. We're not going to let you guys down. We got some great music, and all the musicians that you hear here on the podcast, you can find their music on Spotify and probably most major streaming platforms, but definitely Spotify. It's one of the requirements to actually be featured on this show is you got to have your music on Spotify. As well, if you want to find their link, say you're having a hard time finding it just by what I say today, you can go to our playlist that we have created for this podcast on Spotify, which feature every artist that has been featured on the show. And it's called The Stream Current Show. We got a link to it on our website at streamcurrents.com/podcast. Check it out. There's a link there. It's got all the artists that are featured on the show, and we update it every time we do a show. Check it out. As well, if you want to follow us on social media, check us out on, I keep saying check it out. Give us a gander at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Stream Currents with an S at the end of that. And it's the same username for all 4 social medias. We do upload our podcast to YouTube. But again, if you're having a hard time finding the podcast on YouTube, just go to our website, streamcurrents.com/podcast, and you'll find all the recent episodes on there. Okay, that's enough of our self-promotion. I am Wild Oscah, and that's with an H, and I am a recording artist / producer / entrepreneur, owner of Stream Currents Productions, and we have this podcast just as a way to get some music out there. Kind of you rub my back, I'll rub your back, we'll all have a good time, and we'll get our music heard out into the world. So, the great thing about doing this podcast, I get to interact with new music. Oh my Lord. We get to interact with new musicians. And, I wouldn't be contacting half these people if I was just doing music on my own. I'd just be kind of self-centered, thinking about my own music. So it's really great to have other artists featured on the show instead of just me. So that way, build kind of a community. And speaking of community, if you are on Facebook, I have created a group for the Maritimes. You're welcome to join if you're not from the Maritimes, but it's only for Maritime musicians to post their links and their events and their giveaways and anything pertaining to music. It's called Meet Maritime Music. It's sitting at around 760 members. It was just launched a month ago. We put a little bit of Facebook advertising behind it to get those numbers up. But it's a pretty good group. There's lots of people sharing their events and lots of people sharing different links to their different music, whether it be on Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, Reverb Nation. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be like a professional artist to post your music. You can be just any musician from the musician. I got to get rid of this lisp. I need a drink of Diet Coke, I think. Yeah, I'm on the Diet Coke. Shit's fucking addictive. Anyways, so yeah, that's a great place for people to post their links. My refrigerator just came on, and we have a refrigerator in our studio that I'm recording at right now. Unfortunately, I haven't had the time to move the refrigerator, let alone it's kind of living here for the moment, so that's not going to happen anytime soon. Speaking of which, if you hear refrigerator, we apologize. It is running, which is a good thing, so that the food doesn't go bad. And you might hear the odd cat meow and the odd dog bark. We have a dog living with us, and he's an old dog, and he's got to pee like 60 times a day. So if you hear the dog bark, I'm going to pause the episode, take him out, come back, and everything should be okay. And I live with people, so if somebody happens to interrupt me, we're going to ask them, hey, you want to be on the podcast? See, put them on the spot. So just a forewarning, we are working on being the most professional podcast out there in the world, but for right now, we do have a few kinks that we still have to work out. But it's okay, I got the noise gate on, so hopefully that will deter some of the refrigerator noise, but there's really not much I can do about this podcast episode. So we apologize, just a fair warning in advance, and let's get back to the music. So we got a few new artists today, and we're going to try and keep this episode a little shorter. I know we say that every single time, and every time we say it, the podcast episode ends up becoming like 10 minutes longer than the last one. Like the first podcast episode I did was like 53 minutes long, and we said, oh yeah, we're going to keep it shorter. And then it was like 5 minutes longer. And then whatever. And the last podcast episode I did, we were like, okay, we have to keep this to a bare minimum. We're going to just get in, get out, do our thing, and that should be the show. But it ended up being an hour and 10 minutes. I mean, what the hell were we talking about? I can't even remember now. So we're going to try and keep it a bit shorter just because it's not that we don't like to ramble. It's the fact that nobody in today's modern day and age has an hour and 10 minutes to listen to me talk. But if you do, we thank you for listening. We truly do. And we like to do these podcast episodes roughly every 2 weeks. We've been kind of every 2 weeks been putting up an episode. This time it's been like 2.5 weeks because I got stuck at work for most of the time. But roughly once every 2 weeks, come the fall time when I got a better set schedule, we'll have a specified date as to when we'll actually post our episodes. And if all goes well, maybe, just maybe, we'll take this podcast to community radio and we'll play his stuff there. And if that happens, you best be sure that everybody that's featured on the podcast who's been along for this journey, we're going to get you guys heard on the radio. Now, that's a promise I can't really make, but I'm just saying, if it happens, it happens, and I won't forget you guys, okay? And all you listeners out there, thank you so much. Speaking of listeners, I got to pull up my phone here. We put up on Facebook there that anybody who likes this post will get a shout out on the podcast. So we're going to check that out right quick. I just got to pull up my old smartphone, which it is extremely smart. Quantum physics is absolutely amazing. I don't understand it, but it is amazing. So I'm on my Wild Oscah page, which you can find on Facebook, and I'm just scrolling through. We got one like. Last time we had a few more likes, but we waited till the end of the podcast episode to do it. We almost forgot, so that's why we're doing it right now. So we got one like, Michael Moreland. Woo woo, yeah, cheer. What up, Michael? Thanks for liking the post. Shout out to you for paying attention, and I want to give a few shout outs to all the people who've been featured here on the show. I mean, it's been a great journey so far, and having a lot of fun. I like to do these podcast episodes, get them uploaded, and just see the reaction of people who are listening to them. And make sure, if you are listening, to leave a comment, whether it be on Facebook or on the actual podcast itself. Let us know what you liked and what you want to hear in the next episode of the podcast. We're always willing to dive into certain topics. We don't have a lot of topics today. The only thing I can say is that, well, I'm a little bit stressed out from work. Work is moving really into the busy season, and it seems like when I get a day off, I can't relax. I feel like they're going to call me into work any moment, and I'm going to have to just drop everything I'm doing, head an hour and a half on a bus to Halifax, and go wash dishes for every goddamn cruise ship passenger that happens to come our way. And not that I don't mind doing that because it's my job, but I really don't want to do it on my days off because I don't get many. And when I do get them, I have all kinds of stuff that I need to be doing. I own a business. I'm a recording artist. Like, there's so many things I can be doing on my days off. The last thing I want to do is just drop everything and go do that. So we can talk about work-life balance. It's good to have a work-life balance. It's good to make that money. But if you have hobbies and interests, it's also good to focus on those things because you never know. Your hobbies and interests might actually be the things that make you rich. Maybe not rich, but happy and content. I mean, money can't buy happiness. I came into a little bit of money there in the past, and it wasn't like a huge amount, but it was enough that for me, it was like the most amount of money that I've ever seen in my life. And it didn't quite make me happy. It helped me pay the bills. It helped me order a donaire if I wanted a donaire. It helped me get some new shoes. It helped me do the things I needed to do. But it didn't make me happy. What makes me happy really is staying busy, diving into my hobbies, my interests, my passions, and that seems to be what works for me. I have an awful time with getting depressed, and plus I've suffered from psychosis in the past, which I'm being treated for actually with Invega Trinza. We won't dive into that too much, but I'm just letting you guys know that it's very easy for me to get depressed. And I find the best thing for depression really is just staying busy. Because if you have idle time, you're going to have idle mind. And, your head can take you to places you don't want to go. And it's best to stay busy, and at least you're being productive, and you can accumulate something, whether it be, like for myself, it was starting a business. It all started, I was going to go to Best Buy to buy a computer because I was going to write a book. That was my plan, was to write a book. And then I was looking at the computer, and I had done music underground rap in the past for like 10 years. But I gave it up, and a couple of years went by, and I decided I was going to write a book. And then I was at Best Buy, and I kept looking at the Mac. I'm like, man, should I get this shitty computer and write a book? Or should I get a Mac and do everything? All the things I really want to do. So we ended up buying the Mac. We invested a ton of money in equipment, and then we ended up registering the business and becoming a legit label and doing everything that was required in that sense, setting up a business banking account and all that stuff, and worked out all the kinks that were there in the beginning. And now we're actually streamlining. You know, for me, it's just about maintaining the business and doing what I want to do when I want to do it. And when I want to do it is usually almost always, unless I fall into a little bit of depression. But every time I get depressed, I look up on the wall and I have my business registration certificate framed. I look at that and I say, Ken, you're a goddamn businessman. Get up and do something. And I do. And that usually gets me out of my funk. So that works for me. Not sure what's going to work for you guys. I know diet and exercise and being around friends and family is always a good thing. Unless your family is like cuckoo, then maybe just friends. But yeah, there's all kinds of ways to beat depression. It can be really, really tough for some folks, you know, because just trying to get the courage to actually do something, you know, trying to get out of that funk. And it's not easy. And a lot of folks do suffer from depression because we have idle time. And when we have idle time, we tend to get into our minds a lot. And somebody told me a saying one time, you know, if you're having a hard time, talk to a friend because, you know, you don't want to go upstairs because it's a bad neighborhood. And I thought about that. I was like, that's cool, you know, like, you know, if you start getting in your head, talk to somebody about it, you know, talk to anybody. You don't have to tell them the whole deal, but just say, hey, dude, I'm not doing well. Can I have a hug? Maybe not a hug, but maybe a pat on the back or just somebody to talk to, and it should work for you. Anyways, enough about depression. We said that we didn't want to get down on this podcast, and that's exactly what we're doing, but we're trying to keep a positive note. We're trying to stay on top of things. We're going to get into the music, and like I said, all these artists today, bands, musicians, they have their music on Spotify, so just because we're playing one song, it doesn't mean it's their only song. It could be, but it doesn't mean it's their only song. Make sure to check out other songs by them, add them to your playlist, give them a like, share their music. You know, it's all about the love here. So, the way we usually play the artists, we try not to like pick and choose who's going to be a favorite at the first or the last. It's usually by submission rate. Now, so if somebody submits their music before somebody, I usually will play them first just to keep things organized. It's more so for organization for myself. So in no particular order, first off, we have ZakBP from Nottingham, England, and Zak is in his 20s. He's an engineer and a producer. Zak attended university, ACM in Guildford, where he studied about the music industry. And he studied things like contracts and copyrights, etc. Zak's music has been featured on the BBC radio. I think it's called The Midland Show. I'm not 100% positive, but he was featured on BBC radio, which is a good plug. That's like the equivalent of like CBC in Canada. He's also been a model. He's been doing some modeling and stuff. I wish I could be a model. I got too big of a forehead. And he's got a new release today. So brand new as of like 2 weeks ago because I'm late doing this podcast. But it's brand new to us because we have not heard this song. Actually, I have not listened to any of the songs we're about to feature on today's podcast. So it's all going to be relatively new to me. Zak's new release is called We're Human. And we're going to get to that in one moment here. Shout out to Zak because ZakBP, he's been featured on the podcast before with his song More to Life. There's also a music video. Check it out on YouTube. But right now, we're going to play Zak's new single. It's called We're Human. Be right back, folks.
You're listening to the Street Cred Show.
I'm sat on my room and I'm thinking about how I need to make a change. When reality hits, it feels like this will test your thinking ways. Thinking how I can be different, but truth is we share the same truth. We're human. Look, I'm sat on my room and I'm thinking about how I need to make a change. When reality hits, it feels like this will test your thinking ways. Thinking how I can be different, but truth is we share the same traits. We're human, we make mistakes, it's part of learning day by day. I'm sat on my room and I'm thinking about how I need to make a change. When reality hits, it feels like this will test your thinking ways. Thinking how I can be different, but truth is we share the same traits. We're human, we make mistakes, it's part of learning day by day. Fully focused on music, found my passion. They say it's a hobby, I say it's a purpose. I'm not perfect, no one's perfect. Embrace a loss, I see it as learning. Everyone's fighting battles, hiding scores, but that makes you perfect. I've done things I won't forget. I'm trying to repent and close the curtain. Time and space are the best healer. Drink it away, but it won't get easier. There's no lesson in pints, there's no remorse in tequila. Can't get anywhere with hand in your face. Gonna see me, I'm not John Cena. Always have big dreams, it's timing, I'm more than eager. I'm sat in my room and I'm thinking about how I need to make a change. When reality hits, it feels like this, but test your thinking ways. Thinking how I can be different, but truth is we share the same traits. We're human, we make mistakes, it's part of learning day by day. I'm sat in my room and I'm thinking about how I need to make a change. When reality hits, it feels like this, but test your thinking ways. Thinking how I can be different, but truth is we share the same traits. We're human, we make mistakes, it's part of learning day by day. You can't put me in a box, I'm breaking out, I'm not cargo. You got to accept setbacks, it's not all life is, but the way it can go. Find a passion and make it happen, I'll stick to rap and see how far I go. This life is all about fun and memories, not all about these pounds. It's never too late to rewrite a story, changing pens and see what rides best. I've got a story, I'm full of passion, my message is timeless. You've got to believe and take that leap of faith and leave that life vest. Take some time and breathe, plan your dream, your lesson will write itself. I'm sat in my room and I'm thinking about how I need to make a change. When reality hits, it feels like this, but test your thinking ways. Thinking how I can be different, but truth is we share the same traits. We're human, we make mistakes, it's part of learning day by day. I'm sat in my room and I'm thinking about how I need to make a change. When reality hits, it feels like this, but test your thinking ways. Thinking how I can be different, but truth is we share the same traits. We're human, we make mistakes, it's part of learning day by day. I'm sat in my room and I'm thinking about how I need to make a change. When reality hits, it feels like this, but test your thinking ways. Thinking how I can be different, but truth is we share the same traits. We're human, we make mistakes, it's part of learning day by day.
And we're back. What's up, everybody? This is the Stream Curtain Show, and I'm your host, Wild Oscah. That's with an H. And you were just listening to ZakBP from Nottingham, England, with his new single, We're Human. And I really like that track. It had a purpose. You know, it wasn't just talking about drugs and guns, even though, you know, I kind of get down to some of those songs sometimes, you know, when I'm in the mood. But, yeah, had a really good meaning to it, and flow was nice and tight, had lots of cool effects in it, great beat. Props to you, ZakBP. Thank you for that track. We appreciate having that featured here on the show, and that's a new release. Check it out on Spotify. If you want to follow Zak on social media, check him out. He's on Instagram at ZakBP.1. YouTube, ZakBP, Spotify, ZakBP, SoundCloud, ZakBP, TikTok, I am ZakBP.1. And that's where you can find ZakBP. And that was his new track, We're Human. Next we have, who do we have? Oh, I know who we have. We have Nova Scotia's very own LeafGreen. Yeah, new band, new song, new everything. LeafGreen is from Truro, Nova Scotia. At least that's what I seen on their Facebook page. So I'm assuming they're from Truro, Nova Scotia, which is a hop skipping away from where I'm podcasting from. And it's Canada's newest power pop trio. LeafGreen boasts a sound that marries the likes of Green Day with Sloan, the Descendants to Weezer, and other pop punk giants of the era. Their new song, Intro, will be included on LeafGreen's EP, Shades of Green, which is coming out soon and is a tasteful nod to the lyrical prowess of Cobain, where borderline cryptic lyrics become oddly relatable. The song was released June 9th, 2023, so we're a little bit late getting to it, but we're here, and LeafGreen contacted me after I sent them a message months ago because I seen they were a new band. I thought, man, I would just love to get these guys on. And they're doing lots of shows already. They're already performing. So it's very exciting, very exciting. And we have their new song, Intro, which we're going to be playing here any moment. If you like what you hear on the Stream Currents show, make sure to check us out on social media at Stream Currents on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And we upload our YouTube or our podcast to the YouTube channel at Stream Currents. And you can also find episodes of the podcast at streamcurrents.com/podcast. Make sure to check it out. So next, we have LeafGreen with Intro.
Here on the Stream Current Show, we play the best hits worldwide.
You're a stranger, yeah, you know it. With your punk rock dreams, it's a wooded scene. I feel jaded, can I show it? All this music means just the world to me. I can change it, yeah, you know it. Rearrange it just to show it. Out of danger, care to blow it. Raging fire in me, time to set it free. Calculated in the moment. Crash and burn for me, get swallowed by the sea. Hit the pavement, yeah, you know it. Rearrange it just to show it. You're a stranger, yeah, you know it. You're a stranger, yeah, you know it.
We want more. I guess it really is an intro. Very, very catchy and exciting. But man, I wish there was more to it. I guess I gotta wait for the EP Shades of Green to come out so I can hear some more songs. That was LeafGreen with their new song Intro, which is included on LeafGreen's EP Shades of Green. I'm not 100% positive Shades of Green is out yet, but I think it's upcoming. They got a lot of shows they're going to be performing over the next 12 months with all their tracks, and check them out. They're on social media too. You can check them out on, or give them a gander, on TikTok, LeafGreen Music without the C. I think that's because TikTok only allows you to put so many letters in your username, so it's LeafGreen Music, but without the C. On Instagram, LeafGreen Music, that's with the C. On Facebook, LeafGreen. YouTube, LeafGreen Music. And they also have a link tree too. So if you're having a hard time trying to find them on social media, just go to linktree.com, or not .com, it's Linktree. They have a weird, and it's like linktr.ee. That's the website. But go to Linktree, just type in Google Linktree, it'll take you to the website, and type in LeafGreen Music, and that'll give you a link to LeafGreen's music and where you can find all their social media, and you can give them a follow on there. Very catchy. I was really excited, but man, it really is an intro. I was hoping for more. Sitting here thinking, yeah, I'm just gonna rock it out, but it came up and then it came down because it's only an intro. But that's good. It's a little teaser. get people going, get people hyped up for the album. And I can see what they mean by the mix of like Green Day with Sloan and Weezer and whatnot. And I really love Weezer. I know Weezer's got a ton of tracks, but the song Hash Pipe, I used to crank that all the time. I got my hash pipe. Meh, meh, meh. Yeah. Pop punk, I grew up with it. I don't want to say my age, but let's just say I grew up in the 90s, so I know all about certain bands like that. I mostly listened to hip-hop growing up, but I didn't shy away from listening to other music. I listened to everything from, well, Weezer, Metallica, hip-hop, country, blues, you name it. I don't mind listening to it. There's not really any kind of music I won't listen to, even heavy metal. Like, I used to listen to Rammstein and Slipknot. Like, I'm kind of down for anything at this point, or at that point, because I had a wide variety of music when I was growing up. My father played guitar, but he played a lot of 80s rock and a lot of old country. My brother was really, really into heavy metal. Like, he was totally emo, crazy, dog collar chain, really into the rock. And myself, I was really into hip hop. I was, one of the first albums I ever had was Tupac Machiavelli. And I really got into hip hop growing up. And that's what I perform to, is hip hop. But, I love all music. One of my favorite artists in the world is actually Ray Charles. I just think he makes absolutely beautiful music. And I like female vocalists that sing, a lot of good tracks. So like Toni Braxton, Shania Twain. The list goes on and on of how many people are great singers out there. But I grew up listening to kind of whatever came on the TV, to be honest. So I used to watch Much Music, and we didn't have MTV in Canada. It was Much Music, and, there would always be like the top 10 or the top 100 or whatever was playing that week. And it was always a mix of music. So I got into a lot of stuff. Like, I was at work jamming the other day to Robin. I don't know if you guys ever heard her before. Show me love and what it's all about. Oh, yeah. Anyways, the guys at work were like, what the fuck is this shit? Anyways, but whatever, it's music that I connect with because it comes from a time where I was really influenced by music. So really, taken on. So that was LeafGreen with their new song Intro. It's going to be on their new album or their new EP, Shades of Green. Check them out on social media. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought about the song. Next, here on the podcast, The Stream Curtain Show, we have Spendoe. Spendoe, that's Spendoe, like Spendoe. Spendoe from Santa Cruz, California. Spendoe's been featured multiple times on the podcast. He's also sent other artists my way, which I really appreciate. And he's got the West Coast flavor sound. If you don't know what the West Coast flavor sound is, you're about to hear it. One of the tracks we played on one of the previous episodes was California G-ish. Man, got that song stuck in my head for days and love listening to it. Definitely got that West Coast flavor. He's got it going on. Anyways, Spendoe is from Santa Cruz, California. He's a rapper, producer, and he's a blogger. He's really into like classic horror movies and stuff. So he likes to blog about certain things, and that's one of them. He's got a ton of music. He's got over 3 albums, tons of collaborations, singles, has been featured on songs with Harm from the Rich, Baby S, Mozzie, The Jacka, Juvenile, C-Dub, Little Flip. He's got a whole wide array of music. Go on Spotify. you're going to hear this song, but check out all his music. Literally, you can put on this guy's music and jam all day. He's got that West Coast flavor. You know, if you're polishing up your car, washing your car on a nice sunny day, throw this tune on, man. Ladies be walking by and say, damn, who's the Flavor Flav over there? Or maybe not. You're like myself and take a bus. You just have to listen to it in your headphones and pretend you're the California G-ish. So, we got Spendoe, and he's got a song here. It's called High Tide, featuring Our Soul. That's R.SOL, Our Soul. And it's produced by Cerise Spendoe. We're going to get into it. So, if you haven't heard, I will tell you again. You are about to hear High Tide by Spendoe, featuring Our Soul. We'll be right back.
The Stream Current Show, brought to you by Stream Currents Productions.
I used to wish I never felt pain, but now I embrace it. I gotta feel something, I'm so tired of the fakeness. A real one made it, now I'm just watching. Everything bought, the plan we plotted. The hustle I caught it, kept riding the waves. I told you I'ma get it, yeah, and it's 100 ways. Hard work pays when you get it out the mud. You appreciate the art and everything that it brought. The cash and the hate, the love and the dates. The passport stamps and the view of the waves. There's a lot I had to take, but in the end it was worth it. Till I felt like the end wasn't over, about to lose it. Usually I'm cruising, cool as a breeze. Even when it's high time, man, it's nothing to me. Everybody has a view, so some lower than others. Know the kid on the win, it's just a little bit further. Usually I'm cruising, cool as a breeze. Even when it's high time, man, it's nothing to me. Everybody has a view, so some lower than others. Know the kid on the win, it's just a little bit further.
Hey, where do I draw the line? I know you find a borderline. You get by ignoring signs. I get by they mortify. I can tell you telling lies. I can feel the hate you hide. I've been really on this grind. I ain't walking around here blind. Can't take too much of this no more. Can't fake a friendship like this no more. I better not find out you knock on my door, cause I'll be damned if someone knock me off course. I'll be fair to y'all, give me no choice. Beside your big mouth, you ain't making no noise. Sit in your house, don't you ever come out, cause this vibe ain't what you about.
Usually I'm cruising, cool as a breeze. Even when it's high time, man, it's nothing to me. Everybody has a view, and some lower than others. Know the kid on the win, it's just a little bit further. Usually I'm cruising, cool as a breeze. Even when it's high time, man, it's nothing to me. Everybody has a view, and some lower than others. Know the kid on the win, it's just a little bit further.
What's up, everybody? We're back. This is Wild Oscah with an H. I'm your host here on the Stream Current Show, and you were just listening to High Tide by Spendoe, featuring Our Soul, produced by Cerise Spendoe. And man, it's killer beat. I want to rap to that beat. I need to make beats like that. I make my own beats, but they don't sound like that. They sound way different. Maybe someday I will get that West Coast flavor and throw a song on my old streaming list and get the people bumping. Yeah, like I said, he's got that West Coast sound and nothing beats it, right? It's some of my favorite hip hop is from the West Coast, right? I'm not dissing the East Coast because I'm from the East Coast, but the whole West Coast, they got their own thing going on, and it's great. It's great. Yeah, so that was Spendoe, High Tide, featuring Our Soul, produced by Cerise Spendoe. And you can find Spendoe on social media. You can check out his link tree where you actually get all of his links in case you can't remember all these. So it's just Spendoe. Or you can check him out on Facebook at Official Spendoe, Instagram, Spendoe Music, Twitter, Spendoe Music, Tumblr, Spendoe Music, and YouTube, Official Spendoe. And that's where you can find them. Give them a listen on Spotify, add that shit to your playlist, and get the party started. Oh, yeah. So, That was Spendoe. He's been featured on the show a couple times, and he's got some great tracks. And I was saying earlier in the show that California G-ish is like one of my favorite tracks. It's just got that sound. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a digital wave of awesomeness. I don't really know how to say it. Usually I can talk quite fluently on this show, but today I've been messing up, tripping all over my words, and I got a scratchy throat. I don't know if it's from the heat or what. I got a Diet Coke sitting here. I'm not sure if that's even good for my throat, but I apologize if I come off a little hoarse. I do suffer from esophagus ulcers, and I once had a trach in my neck because I had a bad fall. I fell like 6 stories, like, I don't know, it was like 13, 14 years ago. So I had a trach put in my neck. So I got all kinds of scar tissue that's built up and makes my voice rather rough. Makes it hard to perform songs, I'll tell you that, because I'll be like gagging halfway through my set. I have performed before, though, in the past when I was an underground rapper. I went by a different alias, and I did end up on stage a few times. It was fun. Got a lot of performance time on. I was featured on community radio, which is kind of cool, and I plan on getting back on stage. For right now, we're focusing on the business, though, getting some songs out there for the world to hear, and I think come September, I'm going to get back on stage. We'll see, though. We'll see how it goes. Play it by ear. So I want to thank everybody for listening today. Shout out to all you guys for taking the time to listen to me, on the podcast today, and the songs, too. So it's kind of like we. Thanks for checking out the artists. Like I said, thanks for taking the time for checking out the podcast. We're trying to start a whole new thing here. Make sure to check out or give a gander to that group I mentioned earlier, Meet Maritime Music. Features musicians from across the Maritime sharing their links, events, songs, music videos, etc., etc. Give us a follow or a like on social media at Stream Currents on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Subscribe. Also have my own personal artist pages for Wild Oscah if you want to follow those instead. There's Wild Oscah, and that's with an H, at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. All the same username. So on and so forth. So I want to thank ZakBP, LeafGreen, and Spendoe for all allowing me to feature their music here on the podcast. It really adds a lot of vitality or vibrance to the show, and I really appreciate it. It's the music that makes this show what it is. It's supposed to be like a radio style format, I keep mentioning that, but we're not planning on making this a video. We want to stay audio. We want you guys to feel like you're at home listening to the best radio show in the world. And hopefully we can achieve that somehow. Maybe not today, but we'll come back and try again. We'll never give up. Giving up, quitters never win, winners never quit. You hear that? You better. Anyways, we want to thank the listeners. We want to thank the artists and everybody, the bands featured here on the show. Those 2 new singles. We'll just go over the songs one more time. So there was ZakBP. He had his song We're Human, which is a new release. There's LeafGreen. They had their new song, Intro. And we had Spendoe, who had his song, High Tide. Or High Tides, is it? No, it's just High Tide. No plural on that. And we want to give a shout out again to Michael Moreland for liking the post that we put up. We appreciate it. We like to get engagement on our Facebook social medias. The more you guys engage, the more we feel like we're making an impact. So make sure to comment, like, share, do whatever. Gets the wheels going, gets the adrenaline going and the endorphins, got to work off them endorphins that you get from from every time you get a like. You know, it's like a natural high. I don't know how healthy it is, but it's better than smoking crack, which we don't do here on the podcast, even though you guys might think I do. I stick to the Coke. Diet Coke, that is. Anyways, been a slice, been a pleasure. Hope you guys all have a really good week, whatever's got in store for you. It's going to be a wild summer. And one last mention, if anybody has any events that they want advertised on the show, say if you're a musician and you want your event advertised on the show, whether it be a concert or just a venue or a pub or an open mic, whatever, we can mention them at the start of the show, get all the event notifications out of the way. And if you are a musician or a band or anybody who's doing music and you want to get your music heard here on the podcast, reach out to us at streamcurrents.com/contact. Okay, you can find the contact page by just going to streamcurrents.com. But if you want to go straight to the link, streamcurrents.com/contact. The only requirement to be on the show is you have to have your song on Spotify. It would help to have it on YouTube too. They have YouTube content ID enabled, so that way you get paid every time somebody listens to the podcast. I know it's only cents, but if for some reason we blow up overnight and we're getting millions of views, guess who gets a little bit of money? You guys do. So if you don't have YouTube content ID enabled, I suggest you do. We have it enabled for all our songs because we pair our music videos with our songs, and when people watch our music videos, they will actually send us, 0.001 cents every time they listen to it. But you never know when things are going to blow up. You really don't. One day you're scrounging for a toonie to buy a coffee, and in case you don't know, in Canada we have things called toonies. It's $2. The next day you're swimming in your goddamn money. Filthy rich. Filthy. All right. That's it for us. We hope you guys have a good one. We'll have a good one too. Next, we're going to play a few songs as the outro playlist to end off the show. We got Phil Marinucci with Fly. We got John Raines, Burn Forever. And after that, we're going to play a track by myself. My newest release, which came out, I think, May 29th. And it's called Night for Everyone. So you guys have a good one. We'll have one too. Peace and prosper. Cheer.
There's nothing better than great music right here on the Stream Current Show.
But
You're listening to the Street Curb Show.
I know one thing about you, girl. You've got the warmest smile in the coldest world. Even the sun would envy the way that you light up the dark with your blue-eyed gaze. If loving you was a sin, baby, I would burn forever. Now you're just the same as you were before, and I know angels with a heart less kind than yours. Do you recall the nights the stars spelled our name? I could have burned to death in your arms, oh, the flickering flame. If loving you was a sin, then baby, I would burn forever. Loving you was a sin, then baby, I would burn forever. Burn forever. Burn forever. Burn forever.
Here on the Street Curb Show, we play the best hits worldwide.
Yeah, let's get it, get your spinach, time to rip it. Drip these beats from the beaker, tweaking shipments from the speakers till the freaking beacon. Yeah, let's flip it like some fishes, time to tip it. Ship the heat up to the fever. People need to feel the heat like spices Caesars. Yeah, let's dip it, drop and hit it. Pop the lid, let's twist it. Chopping these beats like a cleaver. Deep in the scene, let's get a little leaner. Never mind your demeanor. Yeah, let's whip it, don't diminish. It ain't finished. Clean your meter, fill your leader. Get out your seat, lose the shield and move those sneakers.
We all up in here tonight, so don't make us have to start a fight, 'cause we just want to have some fun. It's the night for everyone.
Yeah, let's rock it, don't fucking stop it. Hop with the leader, chop that chiba, show your meanness. Go full demon, seize your dreams like Ebenezer. Yeah, let's crop it, clap and clop it. Clocks are unforeseen, redeeming the beats from the receiver. Supreme beings breed some speed just like a cheetah. Yeah, let's shock it till it's lopping, never stop until it's lethal. Be a believer in the procedure, let your creature become your feature. Yeah, we got it, it's the hottest, not the freezer. We the fiends that party till the weekend spills in the deep end. It's steaming up and we ain't sleeping.
We all up in here tonight, so don't make us have to start a fight, 'cause we just want to have some fun. It's the night for everyone. We all up in here tonight, so don't make us have to start a fight, 'cause we just want to have some fun.
It's the night